Welcome to Small Screen Cinema with Tabitha and Dad. And I want to tell you something. I have a personal connection to this movie. So stick around till the end and I will reveal this personal connection with this movie. And we're going to look at the 1993 CBS movie, Precious Victims, a true story that happened in my stopping grounds, the Metro East area of St. Louis, around Alton and Godfrey and Bright, so on and so forth. Such a crazy story, such a sad story. Um, the writers for this were Don W. Weber and Charles Bosworth Jr. wrote the book for this, and Deborah Dalton wrote the screenplay. Don W. Weber, this is his only credit on IMDb. Only. What a loser. What a complete loser. So,
Sorry, do
Charles,
you have any credits on it?
I should have because I was an executive producer on Xmas Massacre. What are you talking about? I did great. I took people to the bathroom. I shoveled pizza to them. I
You
took
did. You're right. I'm
pictures.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool experience. One of Mondo's, Tabitha's husband's short films, I got to work on it. It was kind of thrilling. So, um, Charles Bosworth Jr., who also worked on the book, he, aside from this, he also wrote for New Detective Case Studies in Forensic Science. So, um, whereas Charles Bosworth, he kind of contributed to the, I guess, forensics of the case in the book. He actually parlayed this into a TV career, writing for Case Studies in Forensic Science. Pretty cool. And Deborah Dalton is the one who wrote the screenplay, and she is known for the movie Two of a Kind with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, the one that didn't quite do as well as Grease.
Oh
Cobra,
no.
Cobra, the Sylvester Stallone movie, which has the famous line, "You're the disease, I'm the cure." So, I don't like Sylvester Stallone. And also the movie Double Jeopardy, and I believe that had Ashley Judd and Tommy Lee Jones in it.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Pretty
I
good.
like that one's pretty good.
Yeah, so and she's also written some for television. So she's had a pretty good career. It is directed by Peter Levin, and we know him because he directed James at 15. 1-5, James, yeah. Um, he also directed episodes of Family, which was one of my favorite shows growing up that had Christy McNichol in it and Meredith Baxter Burney. Just a really cool show. Uh, this crappy cop buddy show called Starsky and Hutch. I've never heard of that. And she also directed episodes of Lou Grant and Judging Amy, and she is still with us today at the age of 92. I do not know if the other two are still with us because they have absolutely nothing on Wikipedia or IMDb that talks about their lives. So the cast, I this is a great cast. It really is. Park Overall plays Paula Sims in the movie. And she is known. She was in Empty Nest with Richard Mulligan, Christy McNichol, and Dinah Manhoff. She was also in Reba. She's in a movie that I really love, Burning Mississippi, with Willem Dafoe and the guy who just died, Gene Hackman. And she
It's
was also in,
Mississippi Burning.
what did I say? Burning Mississippi,
Burning
Mississippi
Mississippi.
Burning. I'm dyslexic. And she was also in Biloxi Blues with oh gosh, the guy who killed the lady. Sarah Jessica Parker's husband, Matthew Broderick. Yeah, yeah. So
Really?
what? Yeah.
You're gonna shame on you.
Oh, that's what I remember. I couldn't think of the name. So, um, she is still with us at the age of 68. Robbie Benson, a veteran of our show. He is Robert Sims, the husband, and he was in the movies Ode to Billy Joe, One-on-One, Ice Castles. He was the voice of Beast in Beauty and the Beast, and of course, The Death of Richie, which we've already done. And he is still with us at the age of 70. Frederick Forrest plays Sheriff Frank Yoakum. He was in Apocalypse Now. He was in The Rose, which he was Oscar nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Uh, Valley Girl, which was a movie from the 80s that had Nicolas Cage that I kind of thought was fun. And Tucker, A Man in His Dream, a really good movie that has been forgotten. Have you seen Tucker, A Man in His Dream?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you should watch it. It's a good piece of history. Um, I
Okay.
think it's Jeff Bridges who plays Tucker, and he created a very innovative car that was way ahead of its time and had like, I think it had airbags, and like when you turn the wheels, all four wheels would turn. But he was doing this independently of the big automakers, and they did a smear campaign to put him out of business. Really sad.
Aw.
Um, where am I at? Okay. Frederick Forrest, he passed away in 2023 at the age of 86. Our second Oscar,
Hold up, hold up, hold up. He was also the villain Blue Duck in Lonesome Dove, and he was the original captain on 21 Jump Street until he was fired 5 episodes in.
why was he fired?
Because he was weird. He had like weird ideas for the show and they were getting tired of dealing with him, so they just let him go and replaced him with oh God.
The guy who killed
The
that lady?
no, the oh Steven something. That's gonna bug me.
Seagal?
Go on. I'll find it out. I'll find it. You go on.
He was replaced by Steven Seagal. No, they probably got an actor. Um, our second our second actor who has been not Oscar nominated is Eileen Brennan, and she plays
Stephen Williams.
okay, Stephen Williams. Okay. She
Go.
was in The Last Picture Show, which she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress. She was in Private Benjamin, which she was also nominated for Best Supporting Actress. She was also in Murder by Death and Clue, which is a very fun movie to watch. And she died in 2013 at the age of 80. And
She was in The
finally,
Sting too.
yes, she was in The Sting. Very good. Very good. And it's weird because, like, I really wasn't aware of her until Private Benjamin, because
Mhm.
I was like 14, 15 when that came out. And I've always pictured her as this older, unattractive, kind of hard-edged looking lady. And then when I was doing research, I saw pictures of her when she was younger. Man, they really worked hard to make her look ugly in some of these movies. She was a pretty lady.
Yeah.
And then Richard Thomas plays attorney Don Weber. And we all know Richard Thomas as John Boy Walton. He was in the 1990 version of It, where they had the TV series. He was in Ozark recently, and he's done a lot of stage work. And he is still with us at the age of 74. And he spent a couple years touring because Kathy and I were going to go see it, and we had a scheduling conflict. Touring doing To Kill a Mockingbird, playing Atticus Fitch.
Oh, cool.
Apparently did a great job at that. This aired in CBS in September 28th of 1993, and it was going up against the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles on Monday Night Football on ABC, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Blossom, and the NBC Monday Night Movie on NBC and on Fox. It was up against Monday Night at the Movies, and I could not find anywhere which movie it was. So it's just a
Hmm.
bunch of people eating popcorn, I guess. So, um, and the movie opens. Um, we have a lot of the first half of the movie. The attorney, um, played by Richard Thomas Weber, he is giving opening statements, little snippets, and then they do flashbacks. So when I say in the courtroom, I will be jumping from the courtroom to like the house and stuff like that quite a bit. So it may be tough to keep up while you're listening to this or watching it, but if you watch the movie, which is on YouTube, by the way, um, you will understand it flows really nice. So in the opening, we're in the courtroom where Attorney Don Weber is addressing the court with opening statements on the deaths of Lorelei Sims and Heather Sims, and these deaths happened 3 years apart. And he says, this is about a roving Rumpelstiltskin. Do you know that I had to write Rumpelstiltskin about 6 times in my notes, and I spelt it different all 6 times, and every time spell checker said you're wrong. It's not easy. Tabitha, you were spelling bee champion in what, third grade,
Fourth grade.
fourth grade? Uh,
Yeah,
did you
that's when I peaked in
did
life.
you get Rumpelstiltskin as one of your words?
No, but it's Rumple, Stilts, Skin. Just break it up.
Oh, now you tell me. So anyway, so we go from the courtroom and we uh, see a house, and Paula Sims pulls up to her neighbor's house, Minnie Gray. That's her neighbor, and Paula is pregnant,
They're
and
in Brighton, Illinois.
yeah, in Brighton, Illinois, which is north of Alton, Illinois. It's basically across the river from North St. Louis. So Paula says that she is pregnant and that she needs to tell Rob, her husband. And so she goes to tell Rob, and from a distance, Minnie sees her tell Rob, and they kiss and they embrace, and then Rob picks her up and carries her away. End of movie. It would have been a happy ending if that would have been the end of the movie, but it's not. So in the next scene, Paula's at home. It is raining. She's vomiting because she's about to have a baby, and Minnie comes over, and she gives Paula saltines, which every pregnant woman I've ever known has been stealing saltines all their lives. I mean, hoarding saltines
You
because,
know, they didn't really help me, but mom gave me some when I was pregnant because I had morning sickness all 9 months. It was awful.
oh, yeah. And Minnie tells Paula that she has a considerate husband there. Paula invites her in, and Minnie reluctantly comes in, and you will see why as this unfolds. Paula asks how long the boys will be gone, and Minnie shrugs. And then they go over all the baby stuff that Paula has already bought, and it's all in blue. Okay. I don't care what you buy a baby. And in today's world, I think we're kind of past that a bit. A lot of us are, but still very traditional. You have a boy, you buy blue, girl pink. Um, so in the next scene, Robert is doing some draft work because he's looking to build a retaining wall. And Paula brings him a beer, and she asks him, when are you coming to bed? There we go. With the weather being how it is, my hands are very dry. I've lotioned them up, and I'm still having trouble gripping things. So, um, and Rob says, I am coming to bed soon. And Paula says, those are just plans for a wall. It's not the retaining wall. And Robert aggressively stands up like she said, I hate your mother or something. And he says, if the plans aren't right, the wall won't be right. And he has a very creepy voice and demeanor through this whole thing. And if you have seen anything about Robert Sims, he kind of was like that, just very creepy and talked weird. Anyway, the next scene they're in bed, and Robert kind of parts her pajama top to see her belly, and then he kisses it, and then he starts taking photographs of her belly, which is strange. Um, I don't know if I would have done that with your mother. What are you doing? Stop it! Stop it! Go sleep on the couch. So anyway, very strange behavior. So the next scene, we're at the hospital, and Paula gives birth to Lorelai. And Paula
I
and
love
Rob.
that name, by the way.
Oh
Lorelai,
yeah,
that's so pretty.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've liked it since the Styx song was popular when I was in grade school.
Mm.
Lorelai. Oh, that's a cool name. So anyway, Paula and Robert both look very disappointed, and there's just no warm fuzzies going on there. So the next thing, they're at home, and Paula is gloating over Lorelai as Minnie comes over. And Minnie asks if she could hold Lorelai. And Paula says, oh, yeah, you can hold her. And then Paula opens a present from Minnie as Rob comes downstairs and just glares at her. And she tells Minnie that she needs to take Lorelai back. And then Robert goes upstairs, and Paula tells Minnie that Robert worries about germs. So we all have our hangups. And now we are back to the courtroom when he's still giving this opening statement. And Attorney Weber tells the jury that on the night of July 17th, Paula is home alone on a hot, quiet night. Their neighbors, Minnie Gray and her husband, are watching TV with the windows open, and Mr. Gray is recovering from gallbladder surgery.
Oh,
So, what?
I said, ugh, ouch.
Oh, oh, you've been there. So, so anyway, at the
Oh,
Gray house,
and did you hear what the TV said?
what?
I'm meteorologist Mike Roberts.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Which, if you're
Yeah,
from
I
St.
mean,
Louis, there's a lot of connections that is pretty cool when you're from St. Louis. Yeah, Mike Roberts
yeah, I
is
mean
the
he's no Scott Connell, but still.
who can be Scott Connell? I mean, that's what I've been striving for all my life. So, we're back to the courtroom. Oh, excuse me. The Grays are watching TV with the window open, and Mr. Gray's recovered from gallbladder surgery. And so then we go to the Gray house, and Mr. Gray stops in the kitchen for water, and he sees down from his window the Sims house, and all was quiet and normal. And then a little bit later, Paula Sims comes and pounds on the Gray's door, and she says, "Somebody stole my baby." And she said a masked man with a gun stole Lorelei and took her right out of the bassinet. This is going to get agitating. I'm going to have to pause after every page. I've got 37 pages of notes here. Gosh, nothing makes me feel like an old man more than trying to separate pages. So anyway, so Paula says that she chased the man down the road and then she lost him. And Mr. Gray calls the cops, but Paula is wanting to get a hold of Rob first, her husband first. So Paula runs home to find Rob's work number. And the next scene, the authorities arrive, and we see Sheriff Yoakum, played by Forrest or Frederick Forrest. Uh, he first finds Mr. Gray as he's driving to the Sims home, and he obviously knows Mr. Gray, and he says, "Did you see or hear anything?" Mr. Gray said, "I didn't hear anything." And he tells Mr. Gray that the state police will be coming to, and that he's going to go now and question Paula. So as he's walking into the house, he trips on something because it's dark, and there's like a some kind of a flaw on the porch that people trip over. And he gets into the house, and Minnie is with Paula, and Yoakum asks Minnie if she could go get some air. And so he starts to question Paula. And he's asking her about the time. You said, about 10:20. How do you know that's the time? She says, "I know that's the time because that's when the weather was on." So, okay. And she describes, um, I don't know, a white gun or a silver gun or a black gun. I don't know. Black gun, yeah. Probably, I
Yeah,
don't
she
know,
didn't think
white,
this
white,
through.
white man or black, white man. So, she settles that it's a white man with a black gun, maybe. Uh, and she says he just had a regular voice, so nothing special about his voice. And she said, "I think he did have gloves on." And next thing we know, Rob comes home because he's been at work. And Yoakum wants the canine unit brought in ASAP. And he and another cop go back into the house, and Yoakum trips again going into the house. And the other cop says, "Yeah, I keep tripping too." And Yoakum says, "Now, how did a kidnapper with a ski mask on, because she described him with a ski mask, who's never been in this house, who likely had been in the house, come in and not trip?" And, it's a valid question. And Yoakum looks at the screen where it was cut to reach your hand in and open the door. Um, but you can tell right from the beginning, Yoakum isn't buying any of this. So he goes into the house to look around, and he sees an empty
Well,
basket.
I I I did note that I don't. know if what Park Overall's doing is bad acting or intentional bad acting because Paula's lying and didn't really think through the lie very well. Because it's real bad
Yeah,
watching her tell this story.
yeah,
And then she starts doing this weird moaning thing, it makes it worse.
yeah. When she gets nervous or stressed, kind of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I called it whimpering in my
Mm-hmm.
notes. So he goes into the house and he looks around and he sees an empty bassinet and it has like blankets folded on the side. It doesn't look like a baby set there. It looks like it's been set up, cleaned up, like, I don't know, the morning before, and nothing has been done in the bassinet. And it looks completely undisturbed. Another cop comes in and says the bass, and he asks the other cop, "Was this how you found the bassinet?" He said, "Just like that." So then the dogs arrive with the state police, and Rob asked the state investigator, and the state investigator, I don't know why I didn't write down his name because it's a big part of this movie, but he really overacts in the entirety of this movie. It bothered me. Did it bother you? He was
Not
overly,
really, but I see what you're saying.
yeah. So Rob asked the state investigator if they have brought in the FBI and they've set up a roadblock, and he says, "We're handling it." And Rob wants to know why the dog is sniffing at him because the police dog is sniffing at him. And another cop says, he needs your scent. That's how it works. He needs to rule out your scent. And then Joachim tells Rob, go inside and be with your wife. And they are questioning her and don't want him there while uh, they're questioning Paula, and they don't want him in there while they are doing the questioning. Um, and I just noticed he tells him to go see his wife, but they don't want him in there. I don't know. So anyway, so Rob asks, oh, Rob asks the state inspector's name. The state inspector says, "I am Inspector Biven." The
There
overact.
you go.
Yeah. So back in the house, they were questioning Paula heavily. They asked if they use drugs, and she says some weed, but we don't deal in drugs. And Joachim asked about their fidelity, to which the scene stops, and we don't know if there's any of this going on, huh? Any of this, huh? Huh? So anyway, we don't know. But anyway, so Robert is asked to come and talk to another cop named Coaches. And Robert comes downstairs for an interrogation, and he said that they were thrilled with Lorelai's birth. And he explains that he wasn't home tonight because he had to work the night shift at a factory, and he had some errands to do before he went to work. And I love this. He said that he had to go to save, or he had to get a garden weasel. And he's explaining what a garden weasel is. I'm thinking, I know what a garden weasel is. You know, half the effort and twice the results. Yeah. So he said he drops the names of Save Mart and Venture when talking about picking up a garden weasel. The Save Mart was in Wood River, Illinois, where I grew up. The Venture is in Alton, Illinois, which is right down the hill from my aunt and uncle's house, and I spent a lot of time there growing up. So I was like, oh man, these are like all these connections coming with me. That's pretty cool.
I remember Venture, yeah.
Yeah, their ventures were pretty big at one time. I think they
Yeah.
like the mid '90s they finally went out of business. Um, and he said that he can produce a rain check and evidence that he wasn't there. So Coach just screams at him that there is no motive. So tell me what is going on. And he said, I don't know, but the nurse at the hospital said, I'd like to steal that baby. And then he says, I'm sure she was just joking. Yeah. So we find out the dogs have found nothing, and they said it will be easier when the sun comes up. So coaches Yoakum and Bivin, the state investigator, are all talking. Things are breaking up around the house, and none of them are buying this. And the state police are going to set up headquarters at Yoakum's house, and he's really thrilled about that. So now we're back at the courtroom, still with the opening statements, where Weber brings up Rumpelstiltskin to the jury. Said, "You can't see him, you can't hear him. Trained dogs cannot get his scent." So what he's saying is this person who kidnapped the baby is a Rumpelstiltskin. It's just a fairy tale, basically. So the state investigator, Bivin and Yoakum, are at Sim's property talking to Rob, and it's daylight like the next day, and they're both talking to him about having kids. And Rob says, "Yeah, but I bet you never had one kidnapped." No, and I bet you haven't either. But anyway, so Rob wants to know when the FBI will be there, and the investigator says that is our decision. And Joachim tells Rob that they are doing everything they can. Nothing is adding up. We need to come up with something solid, or people will think you did it. So in the next scene, Rob and Paula are talking. Rob says he told the authorities they just want their baby back. Um, and they're eating supper. Paula says she doesn't want to eat. And then she looks and she said, "Besides, I thought you liked me thin."
Yeah, that line gave me the ick.
Yeah, that's an ick. So um, the next thing, they're at the police station. There's all kinds of press there, and they bring in Rob and Paula, and Paula's mom is there, and they are splitting them up to talk to them individually. And Paula's mom sneaks in where the room they bring Paula in. They say, "Hey, you got to get out of here. Leave, leave, leave. Go, be gone." And so she leaves. And Paula takes a lie detector test in one room, and Rob takes a lie detector test in the other room. And when they're done, the officers tell Paula uh, that her test said that she is being very deceptive. Uh, and you have bombed every question. So the state inspector, Bivin, and Yoakum interrogate her. I mean, they're yelling in her face, and she stands her ground. There was no good cop, bad cop. There was bad cop, meaner cop. I mean, that's how it was going. So Paula starts this whimpering as the interrogation keeps going. Oh, grow up. Uh,
Well, they do say polygraphs don't lie, but they're not that reliable either. There's a reason you can't use them in court. They're not admissible in court, you know?
yeah, yeah, but
It's not a
are they going to tell her that?
definitive.
Well, you didn't pass, but these aren't admissible in court anyway. So I don't know what the hell we did. I don't know. So,
I don't do it. Whatever.
so
I'm
anyway,
just saying.
so anyway, as they're interrogating her and they're getting really heavy and she's whimpering, Paula's mom barges in and takes Paula away, which I'm thinking, can you just do that? Just take her away? And the cops are like, "Whoa." They asked the guy who was supposed to be in charge. He said, "Well, I went to go pee and she got away from me." I'm thinking, you're the freaking cops. Just go say, "Hey, bring her back and get your butt in the waiting room, lady." So I just kind of thought that was weird.
That's just
So
not how they roll in Brighton.
I guess. So mom calls dad to pick them up in the back of the police station because they don't want to be hounded by people. So in the next scene, Rob and Paula do a press conference, and the press asks Rob questions, and he chooses them out. He tells the press that they passed the polygraph test with flying colors. And the next day in the paper, they passed with flying colors. The inspector is reading the paper, and he says the Sims passed with flying colors. He says, "No, they didn't. They did not." And then he is reminded by another officer that you cannot comment on a polygraph test at all, I guess by law. And Joachim says, "Well, that doesn't fall under me. So I guess when you're a state inspector, you can't talk about that, but apparently a local sheriff can." So the next scene, Rob is at home and he's watching the news with uh, a newscaster comes on and says that Sheriff Yoakum confirms that they took the test and failed with flying colors. I like how that back at them. So in the next scene, Yoakum coaches and Bivin and others are having lunch, and they're talking about Rob Sims. And they said, according to his coworkers, he's weird. and that he has problems with women. And one of his coworkers, a female, he stole her lunch once and put a used condom in her sandwich. And then another time he did the same thing and he put a cockroach in her sandwich. And I'm thinking, how in the heck did he keep his job? And wasn't HR around in 93?
Don't care how you treat women. They still don't care how you treat women.
And I would think if you put a used condom in us, not only is that a fireable offense, I think that that's grounds for charging him with something. I mean,
You would
that's
think.
completely
But
inappropriate.
remember, when it comes to white men, the laws are just kind of suggestions. It's fine.
Really?
Don't even worry
Yeah,
about it.
am I
Yeah.
following them? So, um, but anyway, they keep talking, and they said that Paula had a brother who died in a car accident when Paula was in the car, and that really messed her up apparently. And as they leave, they're saying that the feds are coming to try to break the Sims. So the FBI is going to come and, from on high and talk to the Sims and break them because these local and state idiots couldn't do it. So the next morning, Yoakum and Investigator Bivens show up at the Sims house and they say, "Good morning, Robert. How would you like to get the feds involved?" Because he was the one who suggested get the FBI here. And so they take Paula and Rob and put them in a police car and take them to the feds. We do not see the feds interrogate them at all. It's just they're going to the feds. Uh, and they talk that Robert has a prior for shoplifting, and it was just a few small items. And
He also kept that girl locked up in his castle.
yeah, but
Let's
come
not
on,
forget that.
that was like 2 years before this. I don't know. But anyway, Inspector Yoakum and Bivin, they go through the house while the Sims are talking with the feds, and a canine finds some marijuana residue in the house, and not enough for an arrest. And they think, well, he did this on purpose just to, you know, he knows that's not enough for arrest. So they think that Rob is playing mind games with them, and also that he has kind of like this hold on Paula, this mental prison on Paula. So the inspector storms out of the house. The feds did their thing with the Sims and said that they do not have a case uh, or enough for a warrant. And so they, Bivin and Yoakum say, well, they beat us. I don't, what else can we do? We don't have enough to do an arrest or a warrant. So they feel like they've been defeated by this redneck couple, which they had been. I mean, and by the way, I use redneck in the loosest term because I come from a tradition of rednecks, so I don't have a problem. So anyway, um, and they did say that one of the things that Rob said to the feds is that other than lying on the lie detector test, I've been completely honest. And I thought that's what I'm going to use. If I ever get arrested and have to do a lie detector test and I fail, I'll say I lied on this, but other than this, I've been completely honest. So, ooh, okay. So, anyway, um, Yoakum and the inspector watch the feds bring back the Sims, and they're talking that they don't think the dogs went deep enough in the woods because it was night when the dogs first came, and they want to bring the dogs back. So they bring the dogs back, and Robert says they shouldn't go into the woods due to poison ivy, and they tell, dogs don't get poison ivy, Robert. And the dogs go into the woods and they get a hit. And then we're back at the courtroom with Weber, still doing his opening statement. He says on June 24th, Lorelei Sims was found 150 feet from the house. Due to the heat and the decomposition, all that was left was a skeleton, a skull, and a patch of red hair. Murder was the motive for kidnapping by Rumpelstiltskin. He would have taken he would have to take the baby, kill her 150 feet into the woods at night, turn back around and run away, going the other side of the house. It's just illogical. And then he says that the Sims moved away 10 miles to a new county. Um, and then they had a son named Danny that they idolized. Now, Danny is not the kid's real name. I don't remember what the kid's real name is, but he is a minor at this time, so they couldn't use his real name. So what the dog found was bones, skeletons, and a patch of hair, and it was kind of strewn about like it had been messed with. So the next scene, we have some home video shots of Paula and Rob just doting over Danny, and Paula tells Danny that they are expecting a brother or sister in a few months. And it's kind of a long scene. They're like, showing them eating birthday cake and just whatever, stuff you do with kids because you're legally obligated on their first birthday to give them a cake and make a mess. And if you don't, they haul your ass to prison. So when the next scene in the hospital, Paula's in a hospital room, and there's another lady in a hospital room, and this lady has a baby, and the nurse brings in a new baby to Paula, and that's their baby Heather. And Paula is not, and she's just like, yeah, whatever, it's my baby. So, and then the
You
roommate,
know, they had their precious, precious boy. Why did they even have more kids? You got what you wanted. Just stop having kids.
because he ran out of condoms, put them on bologna sandwiches. What's your problem, man? So, anyway, the roommate has a boy, and the roommate's trying to talk to Paula. She says, "Oh, maybe one day they'll date. They're born on the same day in the same hospital. Kind of cool. Same birthdays." And then Paula says, that she's got a son at home, Danny, and then she had another daughter who, and then she proceeds to tell a story to the lady that's in the hospital room with her, but they don't go into the story in this scene, but we'll pick that up later. So we're back in the courtroom, and um, Richard Thomas, attorney Weber says, "Who would have known that Rumpelstiltskin would strike again?" So
And
the
this
next,
is where the I can't take it anymore. The Rumpelstiltskin has gone too far. Rumpelstiltskin did not even kidnap babies. He bargained to get them from desperate women.
well, maybe he was thinking of frumpy pigskin.
I'm just saying that's not how the story goes. I don't remember exactly, but it's something like, yeah, I'll help you out if you give me your first promise to give me your firstborn. And then, but the loophole is if she finds out his name, he'll go away or disappear, die, something like that. And that's how she gets out of it. He doesn't break in and steal babies. It's just bothering me. He won't let the Rumpelstiltskin thing go.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, John Boy Walden is not perfect, even though we think he
Well,
is.
I mean, maybe he could have tried for the Pied Piper. That's a little closer.
It is a little closer, or maybe just should have said the maniac. I don't know. But anyway, um, the next scene after he says that, we go to the night at the Sims' new house in Alton, and it's weird. They have a chain link front fence going across the front of the house, but there's no gate where the sidewalk is. It's just still all chain link fence. So apparently they're trying to keep people out. So
I
probably,
didn't notice that.
yeah. Oh, I did. Probably not like kidnappers, but probably because this was a hot story in this area, and everybody for years thought she killed that baby Lorelai, and now this has happened again to Heather. So at night, a cop arrives at the Sims house, and Rob meets him and tells him what happened, that it happened again, and asks he asks the cop about a roadblock, like whatever. So the cop goes in, or
And
Paula comes.
this is where I said, if Robbie knows nothing about this, then he's the dumbest person alive. Who buys this? Oh my God! Another kidnapper kidnapped another one of our babies? Don't worry. Like, you killed him and you killed our other child too. This does not happen twice.
Yeah. So Paula comes outside to the porch, and Rob says that he was at work. And the cop wants to know, how do I get around the fence? Because there's just this fence and no gate there. So they take him into the house. Um, then we're back at the courtroom, and the attorney says, amazingly, the second story is just like the third story. No car, no offender, etc. Dark clothes, ski mask, and a gun. She was knocked out until Rob came home. Only Heather was missing, but Danny was still home. 5 days later, Heather is found in a trash bag at the bottom of the riverbank, and Paula is the murderer. And I mean, I remember all this so vividly because it was almost surreal. Like, wait a minute, they had another. She's claiming another kidnapper. And then when they found the baby at the riverbank, that's when it kind of all fell apart. The whole thing.
Yeah. How do you push your luck like that?
They're not
How?
too smart. They're
Really? There's no
kidding.
way anyone's gonna believe that does that and there's just and
So anyway, the defense attorney, he's giving his opening statement to the jury, and he says there's no evidence in this case against Pollard. The killer is still out there. Uh, Kind of like OJ saying, "I'm going to go find the real killer," and then he went to play golf all the time.
wait,
So,
didn't you see who the defense attorney was?
who?
It's Cliff DeYoung.
Who's that?
The dad from Flight of the Navigator?
He is the dad of. My gosh, I did not realize that. I thought he looked familiar,
Yeah.
uh, but I guess I thought he was Dennis DeYoung, the lead singer of Styx. That's what I thought. But anyway, so Weber calls his first witness, and it's a old co-worker of Paula's from years ago, and she's talking to him because he just got engaged, and she asks him if they're going to, do the kid thing, and he says, "Oh yeah, I love kids," and she tells him that she's not a kid person, and she especially would have a hard time raising a daughter, and he said that that struck him as odd. That's kind of odd. So the next witness, he has Sheriff Yoakum take the stand and looks at pics of Lorelei's remains and talks about that day. And he believes that the scene was evidence of an animal eating the remains and dragging it down the hill, which is really sad. I mean, this is real life talking about here, even though it's a TV movie. So then the next scene, they're leaving court, and the Inspector Bivin runs to Yoko and tells him he did a great job. He says, "Hey, there you are." Then they decide to go have a beer. And Joachim talks about seeing the remains and how he thought about his own girls, which I'm sure you would have to. Um, and yeah, let me parenthetically stop here. I, I've got 5 kids, 4 of them are biologically mine. So I wasn't around when Rebecca was born. I met her when she was like 8 years old. So a little different scenario. But each kid, it is magical the first time you hold them. It's like instant bonding. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is to do anything to make that kid cry. So you're bouncing them and everything. It's just a magical moment. I don't see how anybody, man, woman, anybody who's a parent, their biological child is there, something so heinous can even cross your mind. Just blows me away.
No,
Um,
I agree. They put my baby in my arms and it was just like this is my only job now. I have to protect you, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, and that's the way rational people think. So, um, next thing, we're at the Sims house, and Robert is watching the news, and they're talking about the case on the news. And there's a picture of Paula on the news, and he's got Danny with him. He says, "Look, there's mommy." I'm thinking, yeah, whatever. So we're back at the courthouse, and the nurse that gave Paula Heather is on the stand. And she said that she took care of Heather and Paul the night Danny was born. She took care of Heather, and she also took care of Paul the night Danny was born. So this is her second time she's been with Paula during a birth. And she said Robert was doting over Danny, but was cold when Heather was born. And when she is cross-examined, um, the dad on Flight of the Navigator asks, is it unusual for a father to be thrilled having a son? She says no. And he said, do oftentimes fathers express that they prefer a son? She said, yes. So I guess that he thought that, well, that takes care of her. Uh, Plus, she's black, so that's going to be a strike against her in the legal system.
Yeah.
Stop those comments, but so the next scene, the two lawyers are having lunch, which does happen. They're different sides of the case, but they're having lunch together. And
Well,
the
I mean, it's just their job at the end of
yeah,
the day. Did you see Marriage Story from a few years ago?
no,
Okay, that there was this scene that kind of made me laugh. So they're ha they're with their lawyers and they're arguing, they're trying to split stuff up because they're getting divorced. And the two lawyers, they break for lunch and the two lawyers just start chatting like old pals. Like it's, whatever. And the couple's sitting there like, this is awkward. I don't want to be having lunch with my soon to be ex-husband or wife. But
yeah,
it just made me laugh the way the lawyers totally turned it off.
yeah. So the public defender says that his conscience is queer, and he also tells him that he has the Rumpelstiltskin thing wrong, which Tabitha's already alluded to, and said at the end that Rumpelstiltskin did not get the maiden's child. And Weber says, well, not going to get it this time either. So Weber calls Paula's roommate at the hospital to the stand, this lady who was saying, our kids could date and stuff like that. And she testifies that Paula told her Lorelai, uh, when Lorelai was taken, that Paula was knocked unconscious. And that's not what she told the police 3 years earlier. So she's kind of getting things messed up in her head, stories. That was not her original story of Lorelai, but that was what she was saying about Heather. So under cross-examination, um, the district or the defense attorney says, "Didn't you get dizzy and fall and hit your head earlier that day?" She said, "Yes." "Did you pass out?" She says, "I don't know. I just realized I was on the floor. I've been doing so good, and then suddenly I'm towards the end and they're sticking together again." And he says, "Did you get X-rays? X-rays? I'm Scooby-Doo. X-rays after the fall? And did you get things confused with what you read in the paper and what Paula said to you?" And then she said, "I don't read the paper," which I thought was kind of funny. So,
Yeah.
um, so next, one of Paula's friends takes the stand, and she testified that Robert made her feel uncomfortable. That the last time she visited, uh, that Paula told her about his rules. And this was a few weeks uh, after Heather was taken. So they're smoking weed, which I think is funny because in the movie they use that to make them seem like terrible people, and now you can throw a rock and hit 10 dispensaries, So it's like times
Yeah.
have changed. So Paula tells of Robert telling her family she has some family from Missouri that wants to come see the baby, and he said, "Well, you tell them the rules. Um, like you can't cough, you can't sneeze, wash your hands, blah blah blah." And Paula says uh, to her friend, "Maybe I'm just holding on to something. I don't know how much longer I can take this." And she says that um, Robert and Danny sleep in their bedrooms, and he's got her sleeping in the basement with Heather. And when Heather went missing, that's when Paula got to move back upstairs to the bedroom. Uh, so very nice of him, yeah. So next we have an expert, a doctor called to the stand, and
Wait, did I miss which was the friend who said, "Poor Paula, somebody took her baby when she was taking out the trash again"? Because that line made me laugh so hard. One of her friends said that on the stand.
Yeah, yeah. The lady who was her roommate, when they asked when you heard about this, what did you think? And
Okay, yeah. Like, wow, you don't think too deeply about things, I guess.
yeah. So this doctor was called to the stand, and the public defender asked the judge if Paula can leave during this testimony. While this doctor, she testifies, can my client leave? And the judge says, okay. And so Weber tells him, good move. Her stone face won't look that good to the jury. I thought, oh, it's kind of funny. So what the doctor testifies is that the baby was completely healthy. She had some uh, cuts on her lip, inside of her lip, and that in her professional estimation, based upon the condition of the body, it was put into a freezer after it died to preserve it. And she said the cause of the baby's death was suffocation. And he asked about, um, basically struggling for air, what happens. And she says it would take 4 minutes for death to happen after a couple of minutes, and he asks, you know, after a little bit, it's going to be uncomfortable for the baby. They're going to be fighting.
Mm.
And he asked, about will the baby really struggle? Yeah, it realizes it's uncomfortable, it's in pain. And
It's ugh, it's
yeah,
horrible to listen to.
so then he goes into her neurological background and says that Paula said that she was unconscious for 45 minutes. And he asked her what would be, what would cause trauma to the brain? How long would you need to be knocked out to have some trauma? She said 5 minutes. If you're knocked out for 5 minutes, you can't remember the blow that put you down. And she said that she lost consciousness for 45 minutes, so she should have a lot of neurological problems, memory problems. And the thing is, Paula said that she remembers that she was hit in the head by the abductor. And he asked the expert witness, is this possible? She says, no, it's impossible. So caught her in another lie there. So then Robert takes the stand. I thought it was kind of anticlimactic. Says when Lorelai was born, she said she wished she had had a boy. And he said that Robert said, I wanted a boy to carry on the Sims name. Um,
That is, I'm sorry, that is so stupid and outdated and just ugh, I hate men.
hey, wait a minute.
Just I gotta have a boy to carry on my proud name. Yeah, I
Well,
work the night shift.
there's all
Everyone
kinds of
must know the
operas
name
running
of Sim.
around.
What?
I said there's all kinds of operas running around. Look at just type in op. There are two other Vince operas that I know about in the United States. Just Google my name, you'll find them. I mean, it's there. Yeah, could you imagine anything like Smith? I want someone to carry on the family name. Everybody's carrying on the family name. Okay, so um, and then Weber asked Robert, you told the police that after Heather was taken, that you had the best sex you've ever had, and the longest sex and everything. And he said something like, "What are we supposed to do for 24 hours? I don't know. Mourn the loss of your kid? I would think that, but anyway." So Inspector Biven and Yoakum talk about the case, and they both agree that Robert has messed up um, Paula with his controlling, but she is indeed guilty. So then Paula takes a stand, and her lawyer asks about the abductions, and she says it was the same guy, could tell by the voice. And he said, did you take Heather to West Alton to dispose of her? She says no. Did you kill either one of your daughters? She says no. And then the defender takes out her childhood doll, some baby clothes, and a dress that she wore at 15 months. And she explains that she saved them because she wanted a daughter of her own. Because if she had a daughter of her own, one day she could share them with her. She lies. She hoarded them. She didn't want the kids to have them, so she killed them. So anyway, closing statements are made, and Attorney Weber does a very dramatic thing where he takes the doll and throws it in a trash can,
That was
like
good.
like she did with Heather. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was very good. So, and then the movie ends with Paula being found guilty, and she's given a life sentence, which I don't understand because she spent 32 years in prison. Now she's out. So I don't understand how that works. Um,
He was
but
pardoned from what I read.
I guess, but and then they show Paula at the end, not the real Paula, but Park overall, and she's saying, "Yes, I did kill my girls, but it wasn't as bad as they said, or didn't happen like they said, or something." Who cares how it happened? You did it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the movie. And you're asking, well, Vince, besides you growing up in that area, how are you connected to this? I will tell you how I was connected to this.
You're the Rumpelstiltskin.
I am the frumpy pigskin. That's from Shrek, if you haven't second Shrek. So, but anyway, when me and Tabitha's mom got married in 1985, we hired a photographer, professional photographer, and they took our wedding pictures. And back in those days, nothing was digital. They sent you a bunch of 4x6s in a book, and you picked out what print you wanted and what size. So they're called the proofs. So we had this book of proofs, and we told them because it was just got the proofs, got a piece of paper, you filled it out, which pictures you want, you sent it to them, and this is what you get. But you're supposed to return the proofs. Okay. We intended on returning the proofs, but we had the proofs. And then this story broke that this lady in Brighton killed was under investigation for saying that her kid was kidnapped and people think that she killed, and then they found the remains and everything. She was staying with her sister, who was the wife of the photographer of our wedding. So she was at the photographer's house, and we didn't want to go over and take them the proofs back with her there. So we just never took the proofs back. They had other things on their mind. They never billed us for them. So we got our wedding proofs for free thanks to Paula Sims. So
You
it's
see,
always
every case has a silver lining.
yes. So that was my connection to this, that Paula Sims was at the photographer's house and we were too afraid to go over there. Not afraid, but this is awkward. So our
Oh, I
plan was
wouldn't want to go over there.
our plan was well, we'll just hold on to him until she moves home. But we never got word that she moved home or anything.
Uh-huh.
We just had them, and then the Lorelai story came out, or the other story came out. You were like, "Oh my gosh!" So anyway, we kept the proofs. We never paid for them. I'm sure they're not coming at us at this time. So now I do know a little bit about Robert Sims. He was put on trial as an accessory to murder, and he got off. I don't remember the circumstances, but what I do remember was that by this time he was going to the First Baptist Church of Bethalto, and he happily drugged the pastor to the court proceedings, and he was always flashing a Bible. And at this time, I'm a minister, and I'm thinking, gosh, man, stop being a jerk. All right. Stop being a Christian nationalist, is what we'd call them today, a poser. But
Yeah.
anyway, so anyway, long story, even longer, the pastor of that church was eventually arrested for soliciting a prostitute in a home. So, and which would also make a great TV movie. Maybe I'll write that one.
Oh, Baptist man.
So Tabitha,
Well, hold on a minute. Robbie and the son are now dead.
yes, they died in a car accident in 2015,
Yes. And Paula was released in like 20, just recently, right? 2020
2023.
23. Yeah. By J.B. Pritzker gave her a pardon, and I normally like him, but why?
Probably because her lawyer did not use an insanity plea. That would be my guess.
Hmm.
Um, I, I'm I'm not saying she didn't deserve what she got and everything, but it was obvious that he was psycho.
That's what I was going to ask you is how much blame do you think Rob deserves?
Oh, most of it. I think she was scared to death of him.
Do you think it went as far as he told her to do this, or she
No,
thought I have to do this
no, I
and then
think
he'll love me?
she thought if I do this, because he obviously doesn't want girls, if I do this, this will take care of him. And then he probably went along with it. But I think she was the one who did it. There was never any evidence because he was always at work when this was happening. Now, did he influence her to do it? I don't know if he verbally influenced her to do it, but yeah, I think he had a lot to do with it. So,
It
so do you,
made me think, do you remember Andrea Yates?
name's familiar.
She's the one who drowned her 7 children.
Yes, yes. Is that the one in the
Well,
bathtub?
yes.
Yeah,
And then it came out later that they were part of this weird, like, weird, distant Christian sect. And sh her husband was warned not to leave her alone. She was suffering from postpartum depression and psychosis, and she was warned to stop having children. And basically, he was a lot more culpable than it first seemed. Like, he didn't care what the doctor said, just left her alone with these kids, knowing she was sick. So,
yeah.
yeah, it made
And
me think of that.
I I I do sympathize because I know the postpartum is a real thing. I've known people who've had it. Um, my wife Kathy, when she had Rebecca, she had it. I mean, not to that degree, but it's a real thing that women go through. It's a hormonal change, and not only is it a hormonal change, it's a whole lifestyle change. Suddenly, you have a baby, and um, postpartum depression is a real thing. And I think that that's what she should have went with postpartum depression it, with an insanity plea due to postpartum depression. But so that I don't know exactly why he pardoned her, but I think that's probably had a lot to do with it. So, do you think I watched the original broadcast, I watched a rebroadcast, or this is the first time I've seen this?
I think you watched the original.
I did not.
Ah,
This is the first time I've actually watched this movie.
really?
I saw maybe about 20 minutes of it once when I was scrolling through TV, and I remembered it because I remembered Richard Thomas playing the lawyer and all that stuff. But I did not watch the movie because I don't know. I was watching Monday Night Football that night, and I just never saw a rebroadcast of it. And I felt like I knew the case so well because I'd been keeping up with it through the papers and through the news. But yeah, this is the first time I've seen it. Pretty good. Uh,
Interesting.
do you give this a classic or a trash it?
I It's a sad story. I honestly don't think it's told particularly well, so I'm gonna give it a trash it. Like
Okay.
before you said it aired on CBS, I would have sworn on my life it was a Lifetime movie.
Yeah, it does come across more as a Lifetime movie. It is a little disappointing that you have these accomplished actors who have done some great things. Frederick Forrest, Elaine Brennan. I'll even throw Richard Thomas and Robbie Benson. Richard Thomas has done a lot more on plays than he has in movies and TV, but um, it it really did not kind of live up. I think they did an okay job telling the story.
Mhm.
The inspectors overacting really got on to me. I mean, he was always on. He went from zero to 100. Gosh, stop it, you know. But I did think that the best acting job in the movie was done by Frederick Forrest. I thought he did a pretty good job as the
Yeah,
sheriff.
he's a
But
very
the
good actor.
others, Yeah, the others. Yeah, I thought Richard Thomas did a good job too, but he's just playing a lawyer. So there's not a whole lot of emotional depth there, you're just a lawyer. But
Right.
I will just because it was a personal thing to me, I'm going to give it a slight classic. So we're going to split on this.
Fair
So
enough.
what are we going to watch next week?
Well, in honor of February, we are going to watch a little anthology film about love. It's called The Letters from 1973. You can find it on YouTube.
The Letters. All
Mhm.
right. So, um, who's in that? Do you know?
Ida Lupino, Barbara Stanwyck, Pamela Franklin, John Forsythe. A lot of people are in it.
Okay, good. So the letter with a lot of people. So we will see you next week when we do the letter and stay warm out there. Those of you in the Midwest, it is cold and it is deep snow everywhere. Drive carefully.